We did an episode or a segment earlier before the season started about the in-season tournament for the NBA. And initially we were like, we don't really understand why they would put something in there like this. But as it's gone on, for me at least, I can't speak for D-Lo, but for me at least, it's been something to watch actually. And we said at the beginning before it started that it was going to give them something to play for. And we've seen, at least in my opinion, I've seen some semblance of playoff basketball within this in-season tournament. And I thought it was dumb to begin with, but now it's like, okay, first year of it is actually kind of dope. And they know they had to change the courts, change the jerseys, stuff like that to make people know that this was an in-season tournament game. And D-Lo, how do you feel about the in-season tournament now that it's happened? Because the championship of the in-season tournament is tonight between the Pacers and the Lakers. And, moving forward, do you think it's going to get better, or you think it's going to be something that's going to fizzle out?
So, yeah, I am 100% in agreement with you. When it first came out, I was really skeptical of it just because it's like, is this a gimmick? Which it still is a gimmick to me. But the reason I was asking was it a gimmick because for the last couple of years, we know that load management has been a thing in the NBA. And I felt like they were trying to use this as a way to keep players from load managing, but also bring, insert a sense of energy and excitement, competitiveness at the beginning of the season when people feel like NBA players are kind of working their way into their true playing form. And they're also just like filling out the season. So you'd have players sitting out here and there because it really didn't care. After All-Star break is when they really kick into gear and, they go full speed to try to make it to the playoffs and compete for a championship. But to my surprise, this has been what they were going for. You have had big name players playing and being very serious about it. You have had the excitement of it with the changing of the court was something that I don't think we knew was going to happen. The changing of the uniforms was something that I don't think we knew was going to happen, but it's brought a different excitement. It's like, where are they playing at? What is this court that they playing on? You know what I mean? Like that type of stuff. So yeah, it has definitely been a pleasant surprise and been very successful in my opinion. Viewership, the reason that I think it's been successful is viewership, both regionally and nationally for televised games of the NBA have gone up at least 20%. You have had players note that it's been ultra competitive in these games and been like playoff-like atmospheres. So, I mean, for this time of year, for the NBA to have this type of viewership, to have this type of excitement around it, for players to note the competitiveness and the playoff-like atmosphere, and for big name players who are able to play and don't have serious injuries, and for them to be out there, diving on the court and all that, it's excitement. So I believe this has brought a renewed energy to the league and the games this year.
I think it has too, man. And I know we talked about it at the beginning of the year or at the beginning of the season about how these players, how they were given, a cash prize as well for making it far into the season tournament. I didn't know that it was each player. I thought it was each team, but it's each player.
Each player, $500K.
Exactly, but but the team that made the final that didn't win it, each player gets $200K. Right. The teams that were in the semifinals, which were Tuesday and Thursday. The teams that made the semifinals.
No, Thursday. It was just Thursday.
It was just Thursday. So the team that made the semifinals, they made $100,000. Each player made $100,000, and then the teams that made the quarterfinals, each player got $50K. So I didn't know that either, though. Yeah, I thought it was each team
cumulative throughout. So you make it to the quarterfinal, like so the Lakers and the Pacers, like we're talking about. So each round that they're in the quarterfinals, semifinals, they get $50,000. Then they also get that $100,000,
$200,000. Yep.
So total is the $150,000 from quarterfinals to semifinals, and then finals. If you the loser, you get additional $200,000, so $350,000. That's how it is. Damn,
it is cumulative. Paid. So the winner gets $650,000. because they got 50 for the quarter, 100 for the semis, and then the 500 for winning it. And then they get 350,000 for the team that made it but didn't win it. And it's cool. And I don't know this for sure, but I hope it's this way. Is that because I think when we talked about it at the beginning of the season, that it's one trophy and the person that wins it the next year takes that trophy and takes it to them. I think it's a different trophy every single year.
I don't know. I have seen the trophy for this year. It's
dope.
Weird looking.
It's a weird looking trophy. I think it's dope though.
It's a weird looking trophy. But it is made by Tiffany & Co., which is like a high-end jewelry jeweler.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know,
I think it's pretty dope, man.
I think as far.
Go ahead.
As far so you asked the question too. What do I think it goes from here? I think I don't want to say it fizzles out. But I think, you know, I don't think the NBA, maybe they can with the viewership going up for this time. I was going to say, I don't think the NBA could sustain paying that amount of money out every year to their players. Because you got to think about it. What's that? So each team has 15 players on the roster.
Yeah, at the most.
And then the players, do the coaches and the admin and all that get money too?
That I didn't see, but I'm sure they get something.
Right. So you're talking about at least 25, maybe 30 players, 30 people across 16 teams?
Well,
quarterfinals is
depending on how the quarterfinals is 8. The semis is the quarterfinals is 8. The semis is 4, and the finals is So 8 teams.
So okay, yeah, never mind. Yeah, they can sustain that. Yeah. I think it only gets better from here. I think the competition and the competitiveness is not gonna be sustained. I think players and fans will like nestle into, this is the in-season tournament. This is what it's for, but it's not gonna be it. I'm wrestling with, is it gonna be as important as the actual end of the season, like the playoffs? Is it going to be as important as that? Because if it's not as important as the playoffs, then you'll see the competition dwindle down. But because this is the inaugural one, and it's been a big point of emphasis of how important it is to the NBA, I feel like is being taken as super competitive. It's being taken as, we got to get this done. This is money that we've never gotten a chance to have before, so let's get it. I mean, this is meaningful for those individuals that don't make the LeBron, Stephs, and Jaylen Brown type money. Those individuals that sit at the end of the bench and maybe only make $500,000 a year or $1 million a year, to give an additional $500,000 or $650,000 if you're the winner, that's big for those players. So, but for those individuals that make a lot of money, it's probably like, all right, yeah, this is good, but it's not as important for my legacy as the playoffs. And the funny thing about about this and it being the inaugural, and to talk about legacy, as I just mentioned, is who's in the finals and who possibly could win the MVP if they win. None other than the LeBron Ramon James. Ain't that his middle name? Ain't that how Skip Bayless said?
LeBron Ramon. Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. So I mean, that would be big. But again, if it's not going to be any importance added to it for its legacy, if it's not as important as the playoffs, I see players, taking it somewhat serious, a little bit more serious than a regular season game. But ultimately, they're going to be like, all right, man, we're just playing this to play this. We're playing for money. That's cool, but it really doesn't mean anything.
And I do agree with you with the big names saying, okay, we win the finals, we win the championship in this in-season tournament, that's $500K. But to somebody like LeBron or Steph or, those guys, that ain't nothing to them. That's, a weekend's, blow money to them for $500,000 because they billionaires. But to somebody like an Austin Reeves or a Cam Reddish, you know what I'm saying? Somebody
Austin
like
Reeves
that.
make a lot of money.
He did. You know what? That's a bad example.
Yeah, he just signed a big contract.
Yeah. I mean, he just got a big contract too. But somebody who's like at the end of the bench, like 7th, 8th, 9th man, who's not making too much bread. There you go. Okay, yeah, a Christie. Somebody like him who isn't making a whole bunch of money. That $500K is life changing for him. So I think a lot of those, I ain't gonna say life changing, but it's year changing for him. So
for sure.
Yeah. So if they get to the point where they making $650,000, you know what I'm saying? That's an extra $650,000 for him. That's great. But I was trying to see because you made a point. You was like, is it going to be as big as like, playoff time? And I don't know how much they get paid per game in the playoff, but I don't think it's equal. I don't think it equals up to $650,000.
Yeah,
I wouldn't think so.
But we're not. So when I said that, I wasn't talking about it from a monetary standpoint.
Okay,
I was talking about it from a traditional. So the argument for who's the GOAT has always been
legacy.
The finals MVP, right? The finals MVP and the amount of championships they have, as well as league MVP, so on and so forth. Right? Those have been almost the standard. And then whoever's, depending on who you're arguing with, they throw other things in there, which makes their case of why somebody is the greatest of all time or why they're even great at all. And so this being new in 2023, when the league has been around for 75 years, how does that stamp or how does that add to somebody or teams or franchise's legacy when it comes to winning? Will we consider this as important as the playoffs?
I doubt it to be important.
Right now, I don't know. Well, I mean, the way the players are taking it, who knows? You know
That's true.
But
That's true.
It's up to the league and up to the fans to determine the importance of this. And I feel like this is me. I'll never discredit anything a player in the past has done, but if LeBron wins this, if the Lakers win this inaugural championship, in-season tournament championship, which is called the NBA Cup, and LeBron wins the MVP, they'll try to discredit this in-season tournament.
They always do. Yeah, they always do.
Right.
But had it been Steph or somebody,
had it been Steph or somebody else, they'd be like, okay, they wanted it. So it's really how the fans dictate what this tournament is going to be. And the overall response so far has been great. But I think if it becomes too lopsided with certain people, certain individuals in the league winning it, it'll become discredited because it wasn't offered in the past. And that'll be a way to say that Michael Jordan, while he was great, or Bill Russell, all those individuals that won a lot of awards in the postseason and that have a ton of championships and MVPs, it could be a way to, kind of separate current players from past players. And I don't think a lot of the older generations and even some of those basketball enthusiasts and historians will try to, it'll make them upset because this is just another way of separating today's game from the history of the game, just like the 3-point line has done for so many of those older players as well.
Yeah, that's true, man. I mean, I don't see LeBron playing in no more than about three of these things anyway. So they ain't gonna really have too much. They ain't gonna have too much to say about Bron as far as him winning these. And I don't even know if LeBron would even put this on his legacy. I think what he's done.
He's already had.
He's already talking about it. Okay, well, yeah, I haven't seen that. Okay, cool.
It was quick, but he said, what did he say after the interview in the game after they beat Phoenix the other night? He said, if it's a chance to compete, I'm going to compete, and we already know what it can do to my legacy or something of the sort.
I didn't see that.
He didn't say legacy. He didn't say legacy, but he said we already know what it could do for me. So
okay, that's what's up. Well, last question: Who wins tonight? Lakers or the Pacers?
I think the Lakers win. I think the Lakers win, even though the Pacers have been playing outstanding.
Halliburton's been going crazy.
Halliburton's been going crazy. They've beaten the Eastern Conference top dogs, contenders with Boston and Milwaukee. They also beat Philadelphia pretty handedly. So I think it'll be a good game. But if LeBron plays how he's been playing the last few games or in this tournament, if AD and company can come out and play fairly well, on paper the Lakers are the better team. They should win.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the Lakers win will be close.
Oh, you still here. So that just means you love the content. And if that is the case, go ahead and click this video on the screen right here. We're pretty sure you're going to love this one as well. And we're so close to that 500 subscriber goal. So there's a button right here on the screen. Go ahead and hit that to subscribe to the channel. And we're on all your streaming platforms, wherever you find your podcasts.